Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some PathOfExile discussion. Welcome to day 12 of teaser season for patch 3.25 and the upcoming Settlers of Kalguur expansion. Today we've got two pieces of information from Grinding Gear Games, one about changes to Valdo's puzzle boxes, and the second one about what's going to happen when Necropolis ends. The first thing I did want to say though is that I wanted to say thank you to people that have subscribed to the channel, because I think today we're probably going to tick over a new 1,000 milestone, 36,000, which is flattering, so thank you. Anyways, rubbish unrelated to what you came to the video for, let's talk about the Valdo's puzzle boxes changes. Firstly, Valdo's puzzle boxes will drop more in the game, but secondly, and most importantly, Grinding Gear Games' intention here is that this is not going to increase the number of Mage Bloods that are dropped as a result of Valdo's puzzle boxes. So what this means is that you will be less likely when you open a Valdo's puzzle box to pull a Mage Blood out. I think the best comparison to make here is to divination cards, and specifically the changes that took place in stack decks between the end of Synthesis League 3.6 and the beginning of 3.7, which was Legion League. In Synthesis and earlier, stack decks were extremely rare and extremely good. In Legion, they started dropping in much larger numbers, and in order to do that, they changed the formula that stack decks were based on. Prior to this change, stack decks respected the relative rarity of divination cards, but raised to the power of a half, i.e. the square root of their comparative rarity. So if one divination card was 1,000,000 times as rare as another, then from a stack deck, the rarer card would be 1,000 times as rare as the other. I should probably clarify here that I'm using the number 1,000,000 pretty hyperbolically, because it's not the case that divination card ratios get that big. Reign of Chaos is the most common card in the game, and it's about 30,000 times as common as Unrequited Love, which is considerably rarer than the Apothecary. The advantage to the million, however, is that cube roots and square roots of it are very easy to calculate, and as a result, it's clearer what's going on. This condensing factor of using the square root there was nerfed in 3.7 to instead be to the power of 2/3, which ended up meaning that if one card was 1,000,000 times as rare as another, then from a stack deck it would be 10,000 times as rare instead of 1,000 times as rare. I suspect they may be doing something similar with Valdo's puzzle boxes. What this means is that if you actually crack open Valdo's puzzle boxes in any appreciable number, you should expect that the percentage of them that are giving tier 5, 4 and 3 rarity uniques will go up considerably, and the percentage of them that are offering tier 0 and tier 1 uniques and tier 2 uniques should go down in frequency. Ultimately, the same amount of killer but more filler than before, and the intention there is just simply that more people get the experience of looting these things and cracking them open if they find that fun. I don't expect this will feel like a major change. If you are a bit of a trade shark though, you might find it reasonably rewarding to just simply sell your Valdo's puzzle boxes to someone that doesn't get the message about this change and expects them to be as good in 3.25 as they were in 3.24. The other piece of information today is what happens when the Necropolis League ends. I don't think it will surprise many people that the deterministic crafting of the Necropolis League is not going to be going core. Necropolis wasn't particularly well received, and on top of that, deterministic crafting on this power level is something that causes a whole bunch of problems for the game. It means that Grinding Gear Games end up either having to have things that are less deterministic but potentially more powerful in the future, or alternately, all sorts of other crafting systems start feeling really bad in comparison. For example, while Necropolis League exists, who's interested in using fracturing orbs? It's not quite no one, but they were very much less useful this league than they've been in other times, and that's meant that Harbinger content has felt much less rewarding. Who's interested in using fossils? Again, it's not quite no one. There are definitely corner cases where they're useful, but they're much less useful than they've been before, which means that fossils were much less of a reward this league than they've been in the past. As a result, I'm not surprised to see Necropolis going the same way as Original Harvest. That said, let's talk about the things that will survive if you're a Standard League player. Items that have been crafted with the Necropolis mechanics, of course, will continue to exist. They'll become legacy items if they can't be made by new systems, and some of them will end up potentially being quite valuable in the future. Additionally, the Perandus Pact unique jewel is going to go legacy in the short term, or alternately, maybe it will have a new specific drop location in patch 3.25 that is not something that exists in 3.24. The other unique items that are tied to the Necropolis mechanics, they will be available in the future, but the Necropolis mechanics that allow you to get well-rolled ones will not exist, and so that means that they will generally be worse than they were in patch 3.24. One experiment that I don't think was intended with the Necropolis League mechanics, but that I do think actually ended up working out pretty well, was the combination of fractured mods on classic influence types. So when I'm talking classic influence, I'm not talking about Shaper, Elder, or one of the 4 different Conquerors of the Atlas. This is something that hadn't previously been possible by any means in the game, and I don't think it caused any problems this league when it was added, probably unintentionally by Grinding Gear Games, and I do think it's something that could be quite interesting. What if in the future, defeating one of the pinnacle bosses has a small chance of dropping a crafting base that has a fractured mod on it, which is tied to the influences of that boss? I don't think that would be particularly broken. I think it would be something that'd be quite interesting. That's all we've got for today. I'm going to leave it there. May your Valobs have interesting results.